G'day everyone, and welcome to another episode of Wrack City Bitch. And I am Big Deno, and this is Peaches. And I said I was going to talk about Severius 1 today, but I've changed my mind. I've had a bit of feedback about this format, which is basically that, I'm not breaking any new ground here, which is probably, the case, and that's fine. I guess, from my perspective, what I'm doing here is going through the faction and sort of solidifying my thoughts on how everything works and what things I'm going to try and what things I'm not interested in and so on and so forth. And this is the process that I tend to follow anytime I start a new faction. So I'm just sort of basically demonstrating that process, and I know for people that are hardcore, die-hard Menoth fans, you're probably not going to learn anything new or be surprised by anything, although, hopefully I see some things maybe slightly differently to people that have been playing the faction for a long time. But this will be more of value to people who are looking at starting the faction as well, or perhaps wanting to know how they should go about starting a faction. So, but because of that feedback, I am going to try and be a little bit more brief, perhaps, about what I'm talking about, or I'm maybe going to focus on some of the things that I'm going to maybe look at doing differently, and maybe not go the whole way through the entire faction. But I am starting to get to a point now where I'm feeling like there's not a lot of stuff left that is really something I'm super interested in playing. So, there's obviously some of the other models and warlocks and warcasters rather that I'm interested in, but it's basically now down to probably 5 or 6 that I'm super keen to play, and the rest will just be ones that I'll play if I ever get around to it, type of thing. But anyway, so I was looking through Warden the other day, and I was chatting to a friend of mine on Facebook by the name of Christian Aus, and he was talking to me about Testament of Menoth, and I hadn't really looked at him because he didn't sort of jump out as me. But after we chatted, I went through and had a bit of a read of him, and I genuinely think this guy is another one like Prime Resnick who could be undervalued in the current meta. So let's just have a bit of a look over him, and I'll see if I can explain why I think so. So standard sort of Menoth stats, speed 5, has a power 14 reach weapon that causes continuous fire, which is fun. Def 14, armor 16, nothing spectacular. Causes terror, pretty good. Mat 6, pretty average. Doesn't get commander bonus, no worries. Has a rule called the Omegas, which is probably what you would call his key. I guess his whole soul sort of deal is what he does, but you can't get soul tokens from models destroyed in his control area, which is only a 10-inch control area, so not massive. But against something like Terminus, that is just a punch in the nuts. Awesome. And then he's got Reclaim, so any living model destroyed, friendly living model in his control area, he gets the soul token, which turns into focus next turn. So you've got a bit of focus to play with, generally speaking. So I'll come back to Arcane's Gate because that's his other ability, but his spells are Ashen Veil, which is a really good ability, we all know. Dust to Dust, which is just an AoE. Sorry, it's a wow, that's a shit spell. Causes a power 13 and creates a cloud effect. Why would you pay 3 focus for that? That's fucking shit. Oh, it's RFP. Okay, it's a spell you'll probably cast once in a million years. Hallowed Avenger, upkeep. When an enemy attack destroys or removes from play one or more friendly faction models within 5 inches of the warjack that the spell is cast on. Note, must be a battle group warjack, so you can't put on the avatar, which is a shame. The effective warjack can charge an enemy model, doesn't say the enemy model that causes damage, and then it expires. So that's kind of a speed buff, in a sense, if you think about it. It's alright, I mean, it's nothing. 2 cost upkeep, that's alright. His money spell, Revive, and this is what you're going to spend your focus on every turn. So 3 focus to cast, return 1 friendly faction grunt that was destroyed back to the table. Can't do a remove from play, and they only get 1 health back, so it's not spectacular like some other spells. But yeah, that's where I think you'll go. And he's got 5 focus to start. If a dude dies in his control area, he's then got 6, which means he can cast it twice. And if 3 more dudes die, so if you get to 4, you can cast it again, so you can have 3 guys back. So if you've lost 4 dudes, you bring 3 of them back. So you only lost 1 model after losing 4. It gets worse after that, but that's pretty cool. And I think this guy also he has a bit of synergy with the Vengers, which I'm a big fan of, because reviving Vengers, that is a long threat range you are going to get. You are going to create some serious charging distances, and then combine that with his feat. And this is one that I'm just utterly shocked with when I read it. Friendly faction models gain incorporeal. Warjacks, Pathfinder. People complain about Menoth never having Pathfinder when they're jacks. This guy gets it for a feat. That's fucking sick. And they all get basically cavalry charges. They can ignore other models when determining line of sight. So, I mean, incorporeal is a great ability when you have threat ranges that are significant. To me, this guy is just straight up and down one of the best targets for Vengers, full stop. So we'll go to Urkane's Gate, which is a once per turn ability. After replenishing focus but before allocation, it can spend one soul token to be placed anywhere completely within 3 inches of its location. It's not a huge ability, but movement manipulation abilities are one of the strongest things. And it's completely within, so basically it's a 3-inch extra charge. So this guy can go 13 inches on a charge, which is decent from at the start of the turn. Solid. So, look, I'm just going to quickly look at this guy's tier list. Zealots, Idrians, okay. Advanced deployment, +1 starting roll, Idrians, Incorporeal, Reliquary Guard, Choir, Bastions, Vengers, Vessel of Judgment, here we go, Exemplars. Applied to the Order of the Wall by 1. Knights Exemplar units reduced by 1, +2. Okay. Look, I think this guy, he brings something quite unique to Menoth, which is Pathfinder for the whole army, and he does it for a turn, which is obviously not as good as perhaps doing it for every turn of the game, but in my experience, it's just one turn where you need to make everything stick and make the whole thing come together to get in front of the game, and I think this guy has the ability to do that. And when you combine that with revive threat range that you're going to be able to create, I think he could have some real potential. Like, I think if you run forward basically 4 Exemplar Avengers in the unit, right? Maybe 3. I think you'd do 3. And you'd have the leader behind them in the pocket, 9 or 10, whatever the command is, I think it's 9, behind them. And then the front guys, if they want to kill them, that's fine. It triggers battle driven, and it triggers soul token collection, and it triggers the ability for you to revive them. If they don't kill them, well, they've still got Vengers in their face. Like, it's still good. And you put Ashen Veil on them, and they're up there in your face. Like, I think that's an interesting sort of conundrum that you're putting on people to make them have to make a decision as to which way they're going to go, kill them or leave them, and possibly create some fun situations. So, Testament of Menoth. Interesting. Very interesting. Look, I looked through this list of Menoth casters, and I genuinely think they've got some really underplayed casters that have some serious potential. So I'm looking forward to this experiment, actually. I'm going to talk about one of the Warjacks now, and it's going to be one that is a little bit maligned. It is the Guardian. It's this guy. Woo! The reason why he's maligned is because he's 9 points, and he has no higher power weapon than a Reckoner, and has no range weapon, and a Reckoner is basically better in every way. Although, interestingly, he does Peaches. We're just doing some things. Alright, thank you. Dropping my iPad. Off the top of my head, I think he's got 2 extra boxes over a Reckoner. I'm just going to look at that now. I thought a Reckoner, yeah. So 2 extra boxes. He's slightly more killable because he doesn't have Ashen Veil. Powerful Charge is cool, but I don't know. Look, the reason why I take this guy is he's got an Arc Node, and I'm playing Kador at the moment, who do not have access to Arc Nodes at all. And I can tell you for a fact what I wouldn't give for this guy in Kador. Like, he just would be an absolute faction-defining guy. But in Menoth, you said that people don't seem to go that way. I think with some casters, and P. Resnick could be one of those casters, he'd actually be really good. Like, I mean, he's still a Menoth Jack, so you give him Battle, and he's power 19 on the charge, which is solid. You could give him, what's his spell? It gives you 3 dice to hit, which is fun, and gives you critical pitch. Increases your chances of doing that. I think that takes it to about a 30% chance to get a critical with Iron Aggression as a spell. And on the charge, he actually goes to power 21 with him a Battle, which is fucking awesome. And then he gives you an Arc Node that you can use that doesn't sort of cost you 6 or 7 points to get into the list, but doesn't bring anything else. Like, he's a heavy and an Arc Node. There's not a lot of situations where you would take this guy over a Reckoner, but I think there are some, and Resnick 1 could potentially be one of those lists. I can see limited other possibilities for him, but in Resnick 1 with Perdition, giving him some threat range with Iron Aggression, or some critical pitch increases and the free charge. Yeah, like I just, it's alright, isn't it? It's not great, but I can see it. I can see it happening. So I'm going to talk very, very briefly about Paladins, because they're a solo that I have not played against much, and I'm sort of, I can understand why. I mean, combat solos are a bit hard to justify sometimes when you've got so many other good value solos and so many great merc solos like Gorman and Anastasia and Rupert and things like that. So it's often hard to just find those few extra points. But look, I think these Paladins are all right. Speed 6, Mat 8, Power 14, Weapon Master, no reach. What's that little fire one? I think that might be critical fire. The little stars, I'm not sure. Stone and Mortar stance, +5 armor if he forfeits his movement or action. So, armor 21 is good. Take it from me, having played Black Dragons, armor 22 is pretty good. Power 14 Weapon Master is great. No reach, not so great. So we're going to go and look at Vilmon, because I think you need to talk about Paladins with Vilmon, and then you get a bit of a sense. He's Mat 9, which is awesome. I think the only other Mat 9 solo is effectively Tartarus, because you can curse. I can't think of any other Mat 9 solos. All Paladins gain Impervious Wall, which means they can be immune to magical effects, and can also do Stone and Mortar. So Vilmon can stand in a zone and not make an attack or not move, and be immune to non-magical attacks, and be basically power 21, armor 21 versus shit, which is awesome. He's a power 15 Weapon Master with reach, which is pretty ridiculous. He's 3 points. That's where you lose me, I think. 3 points is a lot of money to spend on a guy that has 1 attack. He's a Command 10 commander, but in a faction that doesn't have a lot of need for Command 10 commanders, he's a bit of a luxury. I don't see myself using the Paladin package very often. There might be there's some gimmick tier lists, I think, that you can take multiple Paladins, and that might be a bit of fun. Having 10 of them. I think it's actually a Harvey list off the top of my head. Having 10 or something Paladins that you can martyr, and that's got some potential. But yeah. So that might actually, we might just go quickly check Chain Attack and see what they think of the Testament of Menoth. So I've placed an order for some more bits and pieces for my Menoth army, which is cool. And as I said on the text of one of the episodes I just released on the Team Muse site, the future shortly will be me starting to do some painting of models and perhaps showing some of those processes, which would be a bit of fun. And I want to start looking at playing some games with the faction and getting a bit more content that will be of interest to people that aren't sort of new Menoth players such as myself. Battle reports and things like that. Although I doubt I'm going to be doing anything crazy. So Testament, feat 6. Yep, okay. Board control 5. I don't know, like I think you always have to consider the threat of that revive strategy thing, don't you? Maybe. Ashes, yeah, probably hard to disagree with that. Synergy 7. Menoth casters are pretty synergistic. That's probably about right for him. He doesn't have a lot. Aggression 6. Yeah, he's focus 5. He's pretty killable. Survivability 5. Yeah. Grade D+. Are you guys smoking crack? He's fucking good, man. Cracking jokes. Jeez. Unbelievable. I would say B- at the very worst. You can revive dudes like 9 inches in front of them and make them incorporeal so they can charge through your dudes into your caster. What the fuck? That's awesome. I don't know. Ventures mat 7, aren't they? I think they are. So they go to mat 9 in the charge. They can hit most casters pretty comfortably. See, that I think the key to that list sort of theory that I had there is you need those guys to be battle driven, and then kill 3 of them, and then you bring them back, and the unit's battle driven, and they get straight through. Alright, so that's it for this episode. Next episode is going to be something a little bit different to just keep things interesting. I'm going to record myself on this app, War Room, constructing an army list for Resnick 1. And so I'm going to use War Room and go through, explain why I'm doing it, and you'll see it on the video screen. Hopefully that will be interesting, and I will explain some of the things I look for when I create a list, some of the redundancies I try to build into a list, and things of that nature. Hopefully will be good. Might be shit, we'll find out soon. Until next time, thank you for tuning in, and I'll speak to you then. See you guys. Say goodbye, Peach. Meow, meow. Peach, say goodbye. Say hello. She's not interested. Peach says goodbye. See you, everyone.